Hello and welcome to video 2 of the tutorial training series. In this video I'm going to walk you through some FTP software that you're going to need to upload a few files to your server for your fan page to work and display correctly, as well as I'm going to show you a free HTML editor that will make it super simple for you to edit in your content and make this template your own. So first thing we're going to start with is FileZilla. It is a free FTP client, and so that's going to allow you to be able to transfer files from your desktop to your server. The second thing is it's going to be Notepad++. This is another free resource that you can use that will allow you to, in a very easy color-coordinated way, edit through HTML, CSS files, PHP files, things like that. So we're going to need some of that today, and so you can go ahead and download both these resources. I've already gone ahead and downloaded them. I don't use FileZilla. I use Smart FTP, which is very similar, so we won't have any problems there. But let's go ahead and get started. So now I've got the Plexus file folder open. We're going to open up this index file. I'm going to open it up with our Notepad, and as you can see, as I just mentioned before, everything is very color coordinated, easy to get through. So you won't have any issues with following along, and you'll notice all these sections that look like this with the green, that's the commented out section. So again, you see it's a very clean template, it's not very messy, and it'll be easy for you to get through. So we're going to minimize that for a minute, and there's a few files that you're going to have to go ahead and upload. The first one is going to be this style sheet or CSS file, and we got to change one thing with this. So let's edit it here with our Notepad++. Now once again, as you can see, another clean file, very easy because it's got commenting, so it'll be easy for you to follow. The one thing that we're going to have to change is going to be this location for the navigation background. Okay, so first you got to figure out, let's go back here, out of the image folder, which color, because again you got 6 colors to choose from here, so you got to figure out which one of those you want. Make any changes to the end here, okay, to that little bit to match with the color that you want here, and then we're going to have to make one little quick change here, which is going to be add in wherever the destination is. Now that's real easy to figure out as well. So let's say here I'm at, we're going to create a new folder here, just call this test. Let that get created. Okay, here we go. Now that same images folder that we were just looking in, I'm going to go ahead and scoot that over, get that onto my server. We're going to give that a minute. But as you'll notice, our file path, so it's basically my domain /test and then images, and within that is going to be all the images. So in this situation, we're going to come back to the CSS file, get rid of those couple dots, and again, wherever you put this, let's say your domain.com/ we put in there test /images black background, and then we would save this. So see, now we got this all set. We can go ahead and open back up our FTP client, and then it would be the same thing. This whole folder we would move over as well. I just leave it in the styles folder. You can take that style sheet out of there and put it just by itself. That's entirely up to you. So we've got that uploaded now. Now we can finally start making edits here. And the first one we're going to do is, once again, add in the destination URL for where we just moved that file. And in this case, it's going to be in the test and then /styles style sheet. Okay. This right here, I want to quickly touch on this. That is when you are directly pasting this into the FBML application in your fan page and you have to make edits to the style sheet. Facebook uses a catching system that only gets updated like every once in a while, so you have to break the catch and force it to force it to update. Some people call that cache, whatever you want to call it. It's basically the stored image or the stored snapshot of what your file looked like before. So I hope that's not too confusing, but you're going to want to change that. If you make any style CSS changes, you're going to change this. And all I do is, let's say I made a change, I just come in here and move that from 2.0 to 3.0. You got to understand this. All this is doing is making it look like a new URL on the end, but it's really not. And that what does that is that question mark. Okay, so it's just kind of falsifying a new URL to force a change. Okay, so moving forward, now what we're going to get into is images and then all the image files. It won't just work with images. You're going to have to take this same URL here that we just pasted in. I would take that, copy it, and then just paste it in. Oops, forgot a backslash. So you see, you could just go through this whole list. We've got another one here. And they're real easy to notice because, as you can see, they're in purple, so it's very hard to miss. So we'll just go all the way through these images. Now, I understand that you might want to change these, but just to get everything rendering correctly before you start making serious changes, it's smart just to link to the images that we've provided you with. And then once you've got that and you've gone through it all, then make your changes accordingly. And a lot of these, I'm sure you won't even want to change the image at all. You'll want to keep them, especially these social icons. So that's those, and I believe that is it. Yep, because that's the contact form. Okay, so now we've made it to where all the images are linking correctly to the location on your server. The next thing we're going to want to do is, let's say we were completely happy with those images. Great, we can move on. If you wanted to change them out, all of them, after, you notice it just says demo, and it gives the actual dimension size. This 500 by 200, that's the image size. 200 by 275, 245 by 127. So that's the target size you would want to change these images to. So we figured that would make it extremely easy for you to be able to follow. Now, the next thing I want to get into is changing out all that text. Now, a lot of people think, when they think of editing in HTML and especially FBML, with there being so much confusion behind it, they think that it's going to be ridiculously hard, but it's actually incredibly easy. So the first, what you're going to look for is how this is broken up, quite simply, is into what's called content area. Okay, so here you have the content starting. Okay, you have content image, and then that content image ending. And then you're looking for this guy here, this P that's in parentheses, and it's going to show up in blue, just like all these other tags will. But this one kind of stands out because, as you can see, it's indented in quite a bit. And plus, this is some goofy looking writing here because it's just dummy text. So what I would do is I would just come in here and highlight all this. Let's get all the way to the end here. And then I'm going to go ahead, and we don't want to get rid of this last closing bracket with the P. Once again, we want to leave that. So we would delete everything else. So now we've just got open and close. Okay, so any text that'll go in here, or that you have that you can paste, you can go ahead and put in there. Okay, now if you wanted to set up multiple paragraphs, and again, I don't want to turn this into an HTML training course, but we're going to have to know a little bit. This P, open and close, it's short for paragraph. So just think of it that way. Like every time you want to open and close a new paragraph, just use those over again. Just copy and paste them, or retype them out, whatever you want to do. But that's what those are for. So starting a paragraph, ending a paragraph. Okay, that's the simplest way that I could put it for you. Okay, so the next thing I want to talk to you about is, now it might get a little confusing which page is which. Okay, so I want to clarify how I've broken that down, and also how to change the title of the tabs if you want to. For instance, we have Home tab, About, Services, Testimonials, and Contact. This, if I were to just go ahead and edit this out and put anything right here, that is what would now show up. So that can be changed 100%. Now the thing you want to look at is you want to look at this right here. So nav1 is now the anything page. Nav 2 is about, Nav 3 is services, Nav 4 testimonials. Pretty easy, right? Nav 5 contact page. So there's 5 navigation elements altogether. So now, how do we find that? Well, it's quite easy. We look here. Here's Nav 1. We scroll down a little bit further since we've got so much on that front page. Here's Nav 2. So you see they stand out pretty easily. Nav 3 when you're looking for them. Nav 4 and Nav 5. Okay, so that's how you would pinpoint which page am I even editing, as well as we'll start to get into those H1, H2, and H3 tags. Those are just like anything else. They can be put in wherever you want. Okay, you see them all running through here? So this title here is editable as well. You can put any text in there, and that'll show up. Okay, so here is the test that we just put on the front page. You can get rid of all this, backspace that out, put something else in there. It's entirely up to you. Okay, so as you're working through this, obviously it's easiest to work top to bottom. So you're going to start off with figuring out what you want to name everything, and then you're going to work through the individual content areas, giving it a title, which is this H2. You could change that to H1, or there's even an H3. The only difference between those is, let's take a second and move over to the style sheet, as I'll show you. The only difference is, here they are right here. The only difference is the font sizes. Maybe there's some decoration, like this one has a dotted border on the bottom. That's the only real changes. I would suggest to kind of leave it alone, unless you know some CSS. Well, then feel free to go ahead and change that around to your liking. So that's the home page. Let's scroll down now all the way to the bottom. You see all of this. You don't want to change any of this. You want to just kind of leave that all as it is. You can change this here, which would put in your business information. If you wanted to provide your address or something like that, that would be where that would go. And then in the next video, we're going to get into how to change out this contact form with a free service contact form. So we'll walk into that next. And then also we're going to get into changing out this YouTube video with your own playlist. And lastly, the Facebook comment plugin. We're going to get into that as well. So again, I wanted to make this quick and short and just walk you through some of the basics of uploading this. Depending on your different experience level, this might have been a breeze for you to get through. If not, well, I hope it was enough. If not, then there's plenty of resources online to be able to get some extra help with HTML editing, CSS editing, and that should help you out. So stick around for the next video as we delve a little deeper and get into some more of the advanced editing.